Hi everyone, Anthony Fantano here, the internet's busiest music nerd, and it's time for a review of this new Amber Mark album, 3 Dimensions Deep. This is the debut full-length LP of singer, songwriter, and producer Miss Amber Mark, who has been grinding for years now with singles, an EP, a mini album, features, but she finally ended up catching my attention and the attention of many with some of the singles leading up to this new full-length album. What It Is and Foreign Things, these really big, luxurious fusions of R&B and pop, which were impeccably groovy, catchy, and sweet. Bold lead vocals too, which are certainly a breath of fresh air from the very washed-out aesthetics and sounds that have kind of dominated R&B at large for the past decade. Not to imply Amber is the antithesis to anything or that she stands in opposition to any one sound, style, or trend with her music, because the singles on this record were really just a taste of what was to come, because 3 Dimensions Deep is a 17-track, 1-hour experience, which ended up being a pretty well-rounded project that covers quite a few bases, with numerous strains and eras of pop, R&B, and soul being reflected in its track list, along with some detours into a Latin pop and dancehall. How much Amber is offering off the bat here is pretty impressive in itself, but there are still spots where it feels like 3 Dimensions Deep is stretching itself a little thin, with Amber working through some sounds here and there that hit a little awkwardly or just don't leave as much of a mark as others. Healinghertz, for example, is one of the most heartfelt and beautiful ballads on the entire record, with a soaring and impassioned vocal performance from Amber that's absolutely killer, but the meat and potatoes backing trap beat kind of serving as the backbone for the whole thing just feels so at odds with the elegant strings and vocal work. Amber also hops into a more Latin-inspired sound on the song Softly, which I feel like she falls into the same trap many artists on majors do when they are addressing this sound, trying to put a super low-key, super understated, maybe even sleepy spin on it, which just ends up sounding really vague and completely cutting out all of the fun and exuberance this style of music has to offer. There are so many lush arrangements as well on the song On and On, but it feels like kind of a waste to have much of them just layering on top of each other and syncing up with the kicks of the track. The pacing and groove gets a little tedious by the time the strings get a bit more ambitious. This song leads into a kind of reverb-heavy alt R&B pocket of the record, leading to the track Out of This World, which does have its moments. It certainly achieves an intergalactic sound with all of these nods toward stars and planets and a love that just feels otherworldly. But the track doesn't really provide a strong finish. It fizzles out in the end and ends up feeling like a sort of long interlude. And oddly, the song Darkseid's cluttered production and kind of buried vocals feel like they are pulling from a supremely nostalgic place. The big beats and rushes of instrumentation feel like Amber is trying to recreate the sensation of listening to an old Janet record or something, like off a boombox or something from that era. I like the tune of the track, and when I squint at it, I can kind of see what it's going for, but sonically, I don't think it's quite there, though I do admire the grand finale of the song. So, look, I do have my reservations with these tracks, but they really only end up being a fraction of this very large track list, which is loaded with great cuts. What It Is and Foreign Things are still huge, hard-hitting, exuberant, and fun singles within the track list of the record. After multiple listens, still can't get enough of them. The song One is a really strong opener that pulls on fat hip-hop beats and classic soul chops, with angelic vocals from Amber that show her musing about being stressed and wondering about whether or not she has what it takes to succeed in the music world while being true to herself. Most Men is another great vocal performance, solid tune, some impressive chord changes on the back end too, with a lot of inspiring lyrics from Amber about just moving on from a relationship where you felt used. Plus some of those hook vocals, you gotta cut that player out, like the finesse. The song Fomo skips across a peppy, danceable beat, and if it wasn't already clear from the title, it's a track essentially about being content in your own growth, pursuits, struggles, what have you, while not investing too much time or worry in the seemingly ideal lives that you may see friends or other people living through social media feeds, something like that. It's a track that that dares to be both substantive and catchy while showcasing a pretty sharp rap verse from Amber on the back end if there was any doubt that she's not like the total package. The song Cosmic instrumentally leads in a spacier direction, but that space is complemented with one of the stronger vocal performances on the entire LP. Poetically, Amber does a great job of encapsulating that otherworldly feeling of love too, mentioning it feeling also cinematic with the instrumentation to match, even some gospel-style chorus vocals on the back end. There's also a pretty strong final leg on this LP too. I love the song Worth It's two-part approach. It's a beautiful and encouraging statement on loving someone else or yourself, really. Anybody who has a tendency to be too hard on themselves. The first half of the track's great, very solid. The song could have easily just been this, but then it's even more gratifying after a great beat switch around the midpoint. It's just like an amazing gift I didn't see coming. Competition is another inspirational cut too, about sharing in one's wealth or success, rejecting a greedy or self-centered mindset. It's simply saying life doesn't need to be a competition, whether that be in the world of music or love. Then finally, the song Bliss is a very happy note for this record to end on. Certainly contrasts the very unsure and uneasy feelings this album kicks off with. The groove of this track rides on a really lazy and sweet funk beat and bass line, and all in all, one more example of Amber's very great and very sharp songwriting chops. Like, she absolutely knows her way around a chorus. Now, this isn't the final track of the record. That would be Event Horizon, which is sort of like a very starry and lullaby-esque afterthought for the LP. Kind of feels like a bridge into a dream or whatever the next phase of her music career will be. And overall, while I did think there was some fat to be trimmed in the track list here, some tracks that could have been sharpened, I think this is a relatively lovely debut. There are a lot of cuts here that showcase Amber's talents and certainly prove her to be an artist to look out for into the future. She's got a great voice, thoughtful lyrics, and clearly has studied enough in the genres that she operates in to pull from their past effectively, and does it without getting overly nostalgic much of the time. From here, I can only hope the ambition that drove her to make such a large and thematic project leads her to bigger and bolder places in the future. I'm feeling a strong 6 to a light 7. Here, Transition, have you given this album a listen? Did you love it? Did you hate it? What would you rate it? You're the best, you're the best. What should I review next? Hit the like if you like. Please subscribe and please don't cry. Hit the bell as well. Over here next to my head, it's another video you can check out. Hit that up or the link to subscribe to the channel. Anthony Fantano, Amber Mark, forever.